Hi guys. I just wanted to tell you because I was complaining about doctors a lot, The thing is that it's not necessarily about doctors, and it's not necessarily about politics, and it's not necessarily about whoever works in a field where they have prestige and a high amount of income or high amount of status they could lose whenever they make a mistake, right? And that's why they become corrupt in some cases, right? There are a lot of cases who actually wanted to help, but the system made them corrupt, right? No system actually makes you corrupt. You choose to be corrupt, but and it's not about lying. I think, like, first of all, nobody in my environment, like maybe 2 people, believe in my words that the doctor showed me different pictures than the pictures like from my neck in his office than the pictures on the CD. And the pictures on the CD show something is broken or like not the way it should be. And the pictures he showed me in his office were different. They had a flat neck and nothing was broken or weird. I'm convinced that this doctor is not evil or corrupt. He was a young doctor and I thought he, maybe could help me. And I think the thing is that people often lie not because they are evil, but they want to protect you. They want to protect themselves, of course. They want to not get involved in something. They want to protect you, and that's what we think when we lie to people. We protect others. And it reminds me a little bit of the time when we had to put our dog to rest because she was dying because of cancer and she was suffering and she was old. And my parents thought I wouldn't want to come to the doctor to see her death. And I was maybe 14, 15, 16, 14, 15. Oh no, much older. That's confusing. I think when my cat died, they didn't. Anyway, cat or dog. With my cat, I was maybe 15, and with our dog, I was maybe 20. And they didn't think I want to come and see her dying. And for me, it was very important to say goodbye to her in both cases. And basically see her go so I could be at peace, right? And the thing is, when people lie to us, a lot of times they want to protect us because they think we cannot handle it, cannot handle the truth. But a lot of times people know themselves and know that something is wrong with their body, or that they will go soon, or that they are sick, right? They know their bodies. And I remember being in hospital and said, like, please help me. I know something is wrong with my body. I know my body, and I've been a dancer. I've been doing yoga. I've been doing meditation. I was always really connected to my body. And they said, you know your body, but we know your body better because we studied your body. Okay, you studied medicine, and that's why you think you know my body? No. But I'm convinced now that people just want to protect you in most cases and are too stressed for empathy, are too stressed to take time out of their day to be empathic or really talk about the difficult stuff. And I think that our dying culture in the Western world is really weird, that way too many people die alone, either alone in a way where nobody knew that they were sick because there's too much shame to talk about it. And then that a lot of people die alone because of they were abandoned and just put to a different home for elderlies or whatever, and that nobody talked to them anymore, nobody took the time for them anymore, and that we barely talk about dying and death. So I feel like I cannot talk to anyone about death besides one friend of mine who is in her 70s and very wise. But you cannot talk about it because people are scared of it, and that's fair enough. But it's not really helpful for the person who believes to be sick or is sick or believes to die and is eventually dying. And it's not fair because they are completely alone with the thought and the fears. And it's understandable because it's a scary subject, but it's also a subject that belongs to life, and a subject that's weird, has weird culture in our country or our society, because we just put it away and under a rug and we don't talk about it, and we have to write down our thoughts instead of telling them or talking about them. And it's a weird concept because nobody, especially if you're young, I think nobody wants to deal with it, and it takes lots of courage and bravery to actually talk about it and be honest about it. And yeah, and I when I complained about doctors, it's just that I was mad and that nobody would help me or tell me the truth. Or maybe they did and I'm just crazy, right? And I just envision, or like all those things are in my mind, but they are not. It's just, I just talked to another friend who, when she was younger, nobody believed that she was sick, and she knew she was sick. She had the, I don't know how you call the Pfeifferschussdrüsenfieber, like the fever you have, and she had it twice, and the second time she had it, nobody believed her because it said that women don't get it, or like barely get it, and more men, and you barely get it twice, and she knew it the whole time, and she was underage at that point. So her parents would drag her to all the doctors, and the doctors would eventually tell her she is out of her mind, right? And it took like maybe a year or something, or a few months, for someone to finally find out that she's actually sick. And it's the suffering of the person who is actually physically sick, but is called out to be not crazy, but mentally sick. The suffering of that person is tremendously, and we cause suffering to people because we cannot face the truth, or we cannot bear or dare to face the truth, or like listen to the person who's sick, who eventually actually knows intuitively better than doctors, because doctors are not God. And it's the suffering we cause those people we don't believe is enormous. And I don't want to know how many people have been called mentally ill and maybe brought to mentally ill homes, who were actually physically ill and maybe killed themselves because they couldn't deal with the pain of not being seen and understood and heard, and called crazy instead. And I feel like this is such a middle-aged way to deal with people, and we still do it now, it seems like, and the suffering of these people is enormous, and we should not let that happen to people. But we do because we're scared of actual truth, and talking openly about the difficult topics, which are difficult indeed, but necessary to talk about. So I never wanted to blame a certain group. That's not how I want to do it. It's just that certain groups have a certain status they could lose and money they could lose, and that experience in life also made me repeatedly see certain groups who chose to be corrupt, or we can see that in daily life, like what's happening in Hollywood with Me Too and all these subjects and themes that start to come up recently. So